Hello and welcome to Podmas 2024. It is day 25. Merry Christmas. I hope you've had a good day. I've had a good lunch, good dessert, good drinks. Just been a good day in general. Today's question is my personal experience with my podcast as a summary of these questions. So, I was thinking about this question and I realized that my experience with podcasting has basically been a summary of Podmas. It starts out on the fly, hard and fast, and then gets better as you go. You skip a few days, you plan ahead, you sit down and you batch, and then you get things rolling, you get on track, you get ahead of schedule, and then before you know it, it's done. And that's the very same thing that's been happening in my podcast, where there's been times where I've literally just fell off the wagon by like a few hours, where I've uploaded late. Sometimes it's been a day or two or three. And then sometimes I disappeared for 3 months and then came back. That was once. So I'm going to forgive myself. It was a rough time. But I came back hard and strong. I did a Christmas in July, if I'm not mistaken, where I podcast every single day in order to kind of just make up some of those episodes that I missed. And that's what you do. Or rather, that's what I did. So podcasting has been a learning curve. And the more you do it, the more you figure out how you flow. One thing for me is batching. That has been the best thing ever. I spoke to a friend about it recently, and batching is one of the best things you can do. And I know I mentioned this in an earlier episode of Podmas. Most podcasts aren't able to batch. For example, if you are doing it with a guest, sometimes you as a host are tired after an intense interview because before you interview the person, you speak to them, then you interview them, and then you maybe speak to them after the recorded interview. So you may be recording for an hour, hour and a half. That gets cut down in editing. But there's still that full 2, maybe even 3 hours sometimes, depending on how long it takes you, where you are speaking to another person. Doing that 3 times in a row is exhausting, so you might only just be able to do one podcast at a time, and that can cause that rat race effect where you rush to get one episode done only to stress about the next one. And that I know happened to me quite often, which is why batching, especially for the series, I'm sure you've noticed, was the best thing I could do. I thoroughly enjoyed Podmas and podcasting. I'm supposed to release an episode for tomorrow that I have not touched. So we'll see what happens there. But I am so proud of myself for doing this. I'm so thankful for everyone who's watched, who's been watching. Shout out to special people who I'm going to message personally. For every single time that I've posted, they've been like, watched it, that kind of a thing. So I'm just so happy, even if this hasn't exploded on wherever I've posted it. I'm proud of the fact that I did the damn thing. And I've been saying that a lot because I genuinely believe it. I put a lot into this, even if nothing has come out of it, except just pride in myself for doing something like this. So yeah, I thoroughly love this. I'm very grateful it led up to Christmas. It was something to look forward to. It passed by in a blink. I remember starting day 1 and just panicking, like, how am I going to do this? And now it's done and it's over. And I'm just like, how did it happen so fast? So I'm just really happy and excited and reinvigorated to do podcasting next year, because I think I've got some ideas for how I want to change things up in terms of the podcast, and also just some of the things I've tackled in the series I want to put into practice. because I've learned that you miss 100% of the shots you don't take. And I've actually said this to a friend months ago, where I'm like, I play this game where I just randomly message brands and things, and I'm just like, I like this is cool, or just whatever, to see what kind of response I get. And sometimes I'm even like, can I get on your PR list? And not a lot of them are responsive, which is okay, because it's like, this is weird. And then others are like, yeah, sure. And I haven't received anything from PR yet, but I'm hopeful. But it's just such a weird thing to kind of be on the internet and do that. Like, be here sitting and speaking and just putting it out there into the world. And it's like, yeah, but that's how you get out there. That's how people learn who you are, what you're about, and what you do. And even if there's no point to it, like, there's no point in me doing this, because I'm not selling you something, I'm not promoting something, I'm not pushing something. I'm literally just someone talking about something I enjoy. And that's enough. Sometimes that's just it. Especially in the world today, where everyone is trying to sell something and shove something down your throat and make you think you need something that you don't. So I'm happy to just be here. And as weird as it sounds, like, I've grown such a confidence doing this that it's actually scary. Not in a conceited way, in just, oh, I've put my face out there. The world hasn't ended. What else can I do that is challenging? And that has been fun. So, learning more about myself through the podcast, through posting for Podmas, through everything I've done this year, which has been hard to reconcile with. I've been going through a bit of a difficult time lately, and I've spoken to my friends about it, and they've made me understand that what I have done this year has been good for me on the inside. And that's what I think I needed. So thank you to everyone who has watched. Thank you to anyone who will eventually watch whenever they do. And thank you for the support in this series. I've been surprised by the engagement, and I'm just like, okay, cool. Whoever needs to find this will find this. So thank you to everyone who's enjoyed it, and I hope it's been a fun ride, and I will see you in the next one. I usually say this in my podcast, but I think I'll say it here today, and that's, keep being a better being, because I think the more we focus on ourselves, the more we do for ourselves, the more we can be good to ourselves in order to be better for the people we help and serve and do things for, whether that's for money at a job or just in our lives. Doing good to you does good for everyone else. So thank you for coming with me on this wild ride, and I'm excited to do this again next year. But I will see you in the next podcast, and I hope you stay well. Have a good festive season, have a good Christmas, and have a happy new year. Love you. Bye.